I actually want to really nail this for y'all. Our mission is to advance community architecture as a profession and to help visionary founders build thriving communities using transformational retreats and to create legacies. Mansi Shah and I, we host immersive experiences here at the ARC, as our campus just outside of San Diego. Leaders gather to connect, collaborate, and grow. We love these gatherings. These community architects gatherings are held the second and fourth Wednesdays of each month on Zoom. And our purpose here is to bring community architects like you together, ones who are really passionate advocates who know in your soul you're meant to bring people together in person as a key part of your business and how we can rise together. Each of our gatherings will feature a highly accomplished community architect, someone who has been building, leading communities for at least 5 years, has really been through it, and they'll be sharing their journey, offering practical wisdom, and an honest look behind the scenes of what it truly takes to succeed. We're very, very excited about today's guests. Before we go into that, some agreements. One, be fully present. Try to avoid texting, scrolling, anything that might take you out from being fully present. Just consider that there might be this golden nugget that drops in your lap and you'll miss it if you're not fully present. Next is have something at stake. Consider that your mission matters incredibly. And the more you play as if you have something at stake, like that golden nugget coming in, then it will propel your mission, you'll actualize your purpose, elevate your highest expression of leadership. That's what we're up to, gang. Life is precious, not 1 minute to waste here. And thirdly, have fun. We want lots of smiles, joy, be effusive. And on that note, what communities are you leading right now, or could you see yourself leading if you're not leading the communities yet? So celebrate this in the chat, and we're going to read some of these. What community are you leading currently? Or if you're not yet leading a community, what community could you see yourself leading in the future, hopefully near future? All right, gorgeous leaders, go ahead and put that in the chat. Mansi, you want to read some of these?
The Soulful Leader community of 20 years and growing. Sahar, yes, we're such a big fan. Chris, I help authors create their products and programs. Dr. Laura with Sensing Live, Healing Retreats. Absolutely love Sensing Live. Christina says, I'm planning on leading a community of spiritually focused people wanting to get their message out about God and divine. Yes. The God messages on their websites. Love that, Christina. Looking forward to going deep on that with you. Modern Day High Priestess Mystery School. Yes, Jennifer. We had that conversation and super excited for what's coming up in Vancouver area with her retreat center. Rachel says, I have a vision of supporting leaders who need to evolve their identity so they can rise to meet the needs of today's VUCA on steroids world. Absolutely. Lauren, a tribe of conscious entrepreneurs ready to shine their divine through transformational retreats. That's our friend from Orion Retreats. Love that.
So hopefully you're getting a sense of who's in the Zoom room right now and a sense of like, wow, there's some awesome community architects here. Ones who are on that same journey of converging in person and truly transforming lives and elevating humanity and having profitable businesses in the process. We've gotten to know many of you who've been to the ARC or at our latest Sangama retreat. Some were meeting you for the very first time. Wherever you are, welcome. We are so happy you're here. We're going to roll right into the guest expert segment for today. And then we're going to go do that for about 30 minutes. And then we're going to have breakout groups, which is an opportunity for relationship building, which is our preferred term over networking. We're going to take an intermission, which will be for the breakout group, for the relationship building. And then stay on hand for Mia Mansi. We'll be with you for the second half. All right. as we invite on today's guest expert, who is a dear friend, someone we're very, very excited to be bringing on, Mansi, how about you share a little bit about who Jules Schroeder is for us?
Aw, I love Jules. Our camera's not on right now, but I'll say a little bit. So we met Jules about 2 years ago, and this was through a dear friend, Hazel Ortega, who is an absolute gem of a person. And we met at her villa here in Orange County. And just the smile and the heart that she carries, and the deep, deep, deep wisdom that she brings, and the soul that she is, absolutely amazing human being, Jules. And we have the honor of calling her a dear friend. And John actually went to one of her unconventional life retreat in Japan. I couldn't make it because of some visa issues, but John was able to go and had a blast and met other kindred spirits. So, yeah, that's our friendship with Jules. And we also were able to go to Denver and hang out with her in the mountains there, where she has her amazing villa where she hosts people and also has Airbnbs and all the good stuff. So, that was such an amazing time we've had, and look forward to many more retreats with her in future.
We always love giving acknowledgments to how people come into our worlds, and it's also good learning about the importance of in-person retreats, which in our view is redundant because the only retreat that exists truly is an in-person retreat. So we met at Manifest University. So acknowledgement to Hazel Ortega and Berkay Brown. I see some people who know them. And we were immersed in that container where we got involved through Miro, who's here with us in the room. So thank you, Miro.
Thanks for that intro.
Yes.
What's up, everyone?
Super connector. Yes. Miro, how did you actually meet Jules? Just to give us a little context on that.
Jules and I met in Tulum. It was my first ever retreat that I hosted, and we met at Holistica in Tulum. And we sat down at the table and immediately just connected. It was instant soul fam recognition, and we did a bunch of retreats together. She started the Fiji retreat thing, actually kind of a cool creation, but many other retreats, Egypt, and we did a bunch of life-changing things together. So super happy to know that you're all connected.
All right, fantastic. Okay, we're gonna go now to official bio. Ranked by Inc. magazine as one of the top 27 women entrepreneurs changing the world, and recognized among the top 40 millennials to follow, Jules has spent the past decade building platforms, communities, and experiences that expand how people see themselves and the world. She is the founder of Unconventional Life, a global community, podcasts, and experiences company that has reached millions of people across 75 plus countries. Unconventional Life podcast is in the top 1% of podcasts worldwide with 500 plus episodes featuring entrepreneurs, creators, Marianne Williamson. I love that episode, plus many others. She has led retreats and gatherings across all 7 continents, including Antarctica and Okinawa. As mentioned, I had the privilege of attending that retreat in December 2024, which began my deep love affair with Japan. So has already profoundly impacted my life, and we had the privilege of having her at our November 2024 retreat, where some of you in our tribe got to meet Jules as well. She's also the co-founder of Wild Global Inc., a visibility and media platform dedicated to elevating voices and supporting the purpose-driven leaders, and has created the best-selling book series, Woman Gone Wild. Truly a powerhouse, ladies and gentlemen. Please put your hands together or wave them like this for Jules Schroeder.
Celebrating Jules.
So good to see so many familiar faces. Hey, Miro, Don, Mansi, good to see a lot of you and get to meet those of you that I haven't quite met yet.
Yes, this is just as much a selfish ploy to have you back in our world because it's been way too long and we love and adore you. So we're excited to have this opportunity to connect. Question we'd love to ask is, when did you first discover your love for bringing people together in person?
So I grew up as the oldest of 5 girls, and my grandmother was actually from Puerto Rico. And there was this saying growing up that there's no freedom without economic freedom. And so my grandmother actually cleaned houses and was working her way up. My dad worked his way up the corporate ladder, and there was always this experience of seemingly not enoughness, in my world. And so what I could control was being the oldest of 5. It was always like the Brady Bunch, someone on the piano doing something of some sorts. And I recognized early on that when I saw people come together, and especially my sisters, and we actually developed our own family band. I'm also a singer. We'd play piano. We got another one. We were like, we're missing a drummer. You got to learn the drums. She was 12 years younger. The different parts or zones of geniuses that each person could play. And when I look at those early years of recognizing what is the unique signature that each one of my sisters at the time did, right, to then growing that into companies, it allowed me to start to recognize the patterns and then create the structures, which is why I'm able to run multiple companies and have a music career and do all these things, because I learned to really recognize what it's like to bring the right people together in their right zones of genius. And one of the things I always focus on is what I call ROC, which is return on connection. And so a lot of times we're all familiar with ROI, return on life, return on impact, all these different things. But what is it like to truly create returns on connection? And I call it, a butterfly effect, where if I can meet one person like Jon and Mansi through Hazel, and then a connection through Miro that would lead us to here. And all of my business partners and clients have come from this premise of how to create really targeted relationships, but how to recognize where each piece and each person fits within a larger ecosystem such that you can get a greater return on connection. And when you're winning, you're having fun and you're doing great things with people, you want to stay there. You want to stick around. You want to do great things. And so that's been a big important of mine. And I'm sure if you're in this tribe, you feel the same way about these two. It's great to be back. It's definitely been way too long. And I really do think the more AI we go, the more human we become. And I feel like we're in this era right now where we've moved from what I'll call the attention economy, which was mass blasting information, followers, influencer, into the loyalty economy, micro, one-to-one, niche, connection focused. And without the assumption that, you're going to be in a great environment and make connections, but the explicitity that, hey, I know who you are and what you're up to, and I know what she's up to and who the other person's up to, and that creates that real targeted focus. So return on connection has definitely been a big thing, and I could obviously go on that, but I'll pause there for you, Jon and Mansi.
I love
it.
that.
We have so
I love
much.
that.
Yeah, one thing I want to acknowledge about you, Jules, because I've had the privilege of being your container and our personal friendship, is that, gang, Jules has a really great blend of the expert and really owns that and loves being on stage, and her trainings on nonlinear living, and really a visionary thinker who at the same time is truly about connecting others and seeing them shine. And when communities tend to suck and not endure is because there isn't that balance. And Jules really has it where it's not too much, well, I just love people connecting and I'm the behind the scenes person and I'm not really comfortable being in front. There's a weak leadership there that doesn't make the community stick. Or conversely, if someone makes it all about them and wants to be seen for what a genius they are and how brilliant they are on the guitar or whatever, and then it comes at the expense of really seeing others shine. So Jules, I just want to acknowledge for you and everyone here that she really embodies both. I'd love to ask about unconventional life. When you started, I know you shared this many, many times, specifically though with the lens of biggest mistakes and lessons from early on that we could help people shortcut those first few years.
Yeah. Well, I never started to build a global experiences company or a podcast. I was always the introvert extrovert. I actually did American Idol when I was 16. I got kicked off the show after getting down to 200 people for smoking cigarettes. I was a bit of a rebel at the time. And I told my parents all I wanted to do when I grew up was to be a rock star. And my dad, who worked his way up, a Puerto Rican immigrant, was like, I have worked so hard for you to have a future. What do you mean you want to go be a rock star? And so, when I was coming into college, he was like, the top 1% of people make it. Do you really believe your life and future that you'll be one of them? And I didn't have the confidence I did now. And so I figured I'd get really good at business. And I did. I started my first 6-figure company at 18, 7-figure company at 22. I lost it all to an embezzlement at 24. And a year after that, I actually had a near-death experience, a wakeboarding accident. And this was 2015. And I had this out-of-body encounter coming out of the MRI in the hospital, approached by this white figure, 6 Black Shadow Council member. And it was, Jules, you have more work to do in the world. Do you want to do it? And I remember telling this council, they thought my neck was broken. They thought I might have been paralyzed. And I just said, yes, as long as I don't come back as a vegetable. And in this next moment, I literally felt that energy forge my neck back together, shoot down my spine. And when I woke up in that hospital, it was like a completely new era for me. Very much the end of life being done by and the start of life coming through. And who here, just put in the chat, has had those initiations in your life? There was a trajectory that you thought you were going on, and you don't have to literally die to wake up, but there are inciting incidents, just put yes in the chat if that's you, that this deeper calling called you before you could have even said you were ready. And here I am in this neck brace. I get a call a week later from a woman who I had met, talk about return on connection at a speaker event a year prior. And she's like, do you want to come to the United Nations, be a global ambassador for education? And I'm like, it's not the best time. I've almost just died. I'm in a neck brace. And this voice is like, tell her you've got an initiative to reimagine higher education. And I'm like, I'm either crazy or I'm hopped up on painkillers. But before I could stop myself, I tell her, and next thing I know, I'm on my way to the United Nations. Forbes reaches out. I end up becoming part of Forbes Under 30. They asked me to start the official podcast, which in 2016, I had to write 3 pages on why podcasting was going to be the means of the future, what the concept of living life on your own terms was. And little did I know that this girl who in her day job at the time was helping men over 50 who were Neil Young fans learn guitar online. I was working on digital marketing for that product, would get prompted through a series of events to completely pivot where I had a dream and saw 30 people gathering and woke up and Bali came out of my mouth. And it was the first time I remember waking up in August. This was about 8 months after that accident. Life was on the upward trajectory. Internally, I'm Google searching like new body and soul, like how to make sense. And for some of you resonate with that, the rhyme or reason, like I'm feeling called to lead people. I'm feeling called to guide people. What do I do with that? What are the tools and the things that I need for that? And after that dream, I called a friend of mine and I said, I don't feel qualified. I don't feel competent. I'm a very much an introvert extrovert. I don't desire to lead, but I know I have to. I know there's this nagging feeling inside of me that I can't let go of. Any of you guys relate to that? This knowing that when you go to bed at night, you're driving to work, that there's more coming, yet your external reality doesn't match that yet. And God, for weeks I prayed it would go away. I was like, please take it out of my heart. This is so inconvenient. I don't want to lead people. Like, I don't think I'm qualified. And little and behold, I did my first event in Bali in 2018, 6 figures, that first event. And watching the impact of those 5 days of bringing people together, we call them life and business accelerators, and seeing the level of transformation at scale that could be accomplished in that kind of application, I knew for myself, I'm like, not only was that incredibly fun, I was like, this is it. And I told people, I don't know when, where, how much, we'll do it again. And people on the spot literally started giving me a deposit for a future event with no date and no location. That turned out to be Unconventional Life in Italy about 6 months later. And here we are over a decade, all 7 continents, groups of 30 to 200 people. And more than that, I think what has asked of me, especially John, I love how you talk about at least 5 years doing it. There's something that happens when you get to see the cycles and seasons of what it's like to lead community and steward community. I mean, at the time, there was only yoga retreats when I was doing this in 2016. There were not communities teaching you how to do this, kind of fully maverick. You're writing pages, you're writing proposals. And in some ways, I was capitalizing the market. People were like, life, business, travel, Bali, food, connection, networking. I'm like, all about that. And then as time has gone on, right, more people felt called, more resources, which is a beautiful thing to support. And I've found that the more I've gone, the more it's required me to be more honest with myself. And I really hold this value for all of you. If you're a community leader, and this took me a while to learn, you're the holograph of all of your clients and community you're meant to impact. So right now, when I think about what's really resonating with people, moving from attention to loyalty, it's the ability to say, how do I become more deeply revealed in me? Meaning my thoughts, my fears, the like, can I make it? Here's the funny thing, the stuff that you think about, your clients are thinking about as well. When I'm thinking about like, it's supposed to be the year of the fires, and why does it feel slow? And why does money feel difficult? So are my clients, so are my audience. And so when I learned to archive the genius within me, meaning also my desires, hey, I would love to go to Albania, which is our 10-year anniversary event this year, and go on the Mediterranean. I learned to recognize that the answers I was seeking for in my marketing, in my sales pages, and how to convert community were actually the same things that I was experiencing. And my ability to translate that into offerings, into new products, which I eventually learned to become a coach, and we created products and masterminds and all of that. The stuff that sold out was because I was creating it for myself. And I trusted that which brought me joy, brought my people joy. And that which I was willing to confront in myself also created the space and permission for them to confront in their self. And so I have led this community just as much as this community has led me. And I think there's nothing more beautiful. And I just want to acknowledge all of you than to honor the calling of what it's like to be a leader, and particularly a transformational leader. And especially right now. Like, yes, it seems glamorous, and yes, it's sexy, and yes, there's money, and yes, there's that. But sometimes it's really difficult. Sometimes it's like, am I absolutely losing my mind? Like, does anybody care? Does any of this matter? And I just want to offer that as we move more into this world, I think those of us that are raising our hand and say, well, I might not have it all the way figured out, but I've at least figured out this much. And I can share about that. And then I go a little bit further, and I've at least figured out that much. And I can now take you that far. And I can now take you that far. You'll look back after the fact like I do now and go, I don't know how that was 10 years. And that's where I am. I'm like, I don't know, I'm telling you this story about this accident from a decade ago and all this crazy stuff and multiple 7 figures that could happen. But I stayed present to what was present each step of the way. And that, I really believe, if you can be with what is there each step of the way and act in the moment that it requires you to act, you will look back and you'll go, it's better than I could have ever imagined. So that's been some glimmers into that, and hopes that gives, you know, some perspective on my last decade in this business.
I love that. Love that. Thank you for sharing the wisdom that you have gained through all your spiritual experiences. And I know you're big on, having breakthrough in each moment, like if it's success or breakdowns, it doesn't matter. So I want you to talk a little bit about nonlinear activations, because I know that you're really big on those. And a lot of us let our brain come in the way of how we are meant to live and create. So let's get a little bit into that.
Yeah. Well, if you really knew me, you would know that I love models. I love framework. I'm such a nerd. I also love the woo and the spiritual. So to John's point, like, I love to bring, anyone else put yes in the chat, I love to bring the two marrying of those things together. So one of the models that I use in my work is what I call the 3 domains of reality. And I actually have an upcoming book that'll be coming out next year called the I Am Equation, which will speak to this specifically. But the 3 domains of reality, I call them the domain of the predictable, the domain of the possible, and the domain of the potential. So when we think about linear reality, this is like A plus B equals C, right? The old model, right? Go to school, get a good job, do well in your job, you get a promotion. If you get a good promotion, you eventually, retire, and all those things, so on and so forth. I find that there's the domain of the predictable, which is what we know we know. For most of us, this is how we've been taught most of our life. It's literally like, I know that if I show up at work for 2 weeks in a row, I'm going to get a paycheck. I know that, if I keep showing up to these calls, I'm going to keep feeling connected to community. Then there's the domain of the possible. This is where goal setting happens. This is where most of us think, still in the linear, best case scenario. So if I work really, really hard, I'll be recognized. If I call 100 leads, at least one of them's got to close. Both of those domains of the predictable and the possible is what we know that we don't know, still live in the linear. There's then this third domain, which is where my community and my company Unconventional Life lives, and I call it the domain of potentiality. This is where you exit the linear bus. So you surrender everything that you know, or everything that you know that you don't know. Any control-oriented people, I was definitely a serious control freak. I was like, if I can't control it, I can't believe it. If I can't see the end before I start, then I will not take my first step. And this third domain, the domain of potential, is what we don't know that we don't know. This is where quantum leaps happen. This is where the miraculous shows up. This is where, and I'll just use an example in my own life, I did an event in 2018 because I needed a gold outfit, and a friend of mine connected me to my now business partner in Wild Global. We lose connection for 4 years. She shows up in Boulder due to a Grateful Dead event, wanting to see the dead in Boulder. We start a company 2 years ago. It does $1.8 million in 2 years without a real business model. How does that happen? It happens because you have the right pieces that in this domain of the potential, like come together at just the right time. And it's the ability to learn what you don't know. And so when you think about like the domain of the linear reality, most of us already know how to do that. Who here knows how to create plans, action lists, to-do lists? If it's budgeting, finance, you know how to do that. When it comes to this non-linear, it asks a different skill set from us. It requires us to take the first step, knowing we're not going to know the full picture until after the fact. And it also has different conditions for us that have to surrender. And I like to say, I don't know how, but show me. That realm rests on what I call the I am equation. And this is what my book is about. Attention, our I, plus our attention equals our M, manifestation. So intention plus attention equals manifestation. I am. So the premise of it is that which I put my intention towards, but keep my attention on, will inevitably manifest or show up in my life. For most of us, we're able to some degree to understand, I know what I want. I want an X amount business. I want X clients. I want to do this. And even if we don't fully know, put yes in the chat if that's true for you, we have a sense of what we are directing our intention towards. Attention is our most precious commodity, and more than ever as we move, those of us that I really think are gaining our attention with our communities and within ourselves, when we work to put our attention on it, we inevitably it will show up in our life, and we don't have to control, God, I gotta hope it's gonna happen. It's an inevitable byproduct of our attention as a practice. Now, attention has a timing and it's often inconvenient, and I call this surfers in the water. If anyone's ever surfed, put yes in the chat, or you watch people surf, you know, you're out there in the water and waves come, right? If you've ever boogie boarded, you got a timing. Either choose to paddle or you don't. Usually the waves, when it comes, has a split second for you to decide. And if you paddle at just the right timing, you'll ride that wave all the way to the shore. If you hesitate for just a second, you'll get up, you might come back down, you go a little bit, but you miss the precision. This non-linear reality, the domain of potentiality, is a precision of action. Intuition meets action. Intuitive action. There's a timing. So right now in your life, there are promptings that are happening. Waves, you're coming in. For some of you, you're still on the beach, you know, and chances are you're not on the beach because if you're on this call, you're at least in the water, right? But we at least can recognize when we've been on the beach. We're like, I could be in the water, but we're on the beach. If you're on this call, I'm going to assume that you're in the water. Just write, I am in the water. If you're on this chat right now, right? I'm in the water. And right, the waves are coming, right? You're getting these opportunities. And a lot of times the wave comes and you're like, oh, that looks really big. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it. And we like hesitate. We try to go for it. And we're like, I didn't work. It didn't work. I got an offer. I kind of put it out there. No one bought. I got to let it go. Or there are moments where we experience profound flow. We put something out there and it like takes off. It sells out. People just show us and we're like, how did that even happen? And we consider these coincidences, synchronicities, random blessings, whatever you use. Sometimes we call them weird. But what if you could consider that you are the source of the weirdness, and it actually is really distilled down to a timing and your ability to say, when I'm prompted, in the moment I'm prompted, like the wave in the water, can I stand up, paddle, and ride the wave? And I find when you do that, meaning you keep your attention on that, on the waves, in the water, consistently, that which you want will inevitably show up, and it will always happen after the fact. And so just something I want to, offer to you right now, and maybe even write in the chat right now, what are some of the promptings? And sometimes the promptings are really ordinary. They're not necessarily massive, and sometimes they're big. My business partner and I just had a conversation the other day, and she was like, I don't know if we need to pivot on blah, 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 and all this stuff. And I just went there. It was a prompting. It would have been easy to just be busy in the day-to-day of life and not have a conversation that was important. But guess what? We had that conversation, and we actually just closed like a 50K client by going there into a conversation that needed to happen. So for some of you, that might be actually just taking a post out there. It might be creating a phone call. whatever it is, there are these promptings. And then the last piece I want to add to that, and a lot of you, if you've missed the wave, don't beat yourself up over it. Some of us are beating ourselves up over waves that have crashed on the beach years ago. That podcast we didn't start yet, the book we didn't write, the failure we thought we had. And if I could leave anything, your attention goes on that. There's no point of, in my opinion, keeping your attention on a beach that waves have already crashed on. Take back your attention to what you can be with now. And if you know the domains that you're operating in, there's no wrong or right of being in the linear versus the nonlinear. You just have more power and agency of how you want to create, and then more context for how to qualify the results that you're generating.
All right. We're going to open up for questions now. So it could be about the domain of potentiality. It could be about Jules's vast experience, now 10 years of unconventional life, hosting retreats internationally, her podcast. Any questions, we're going to call you up right now. Just put up your virtual hand and we will bring you up. Who has a question for Jules Schroeder? All right, Miro. Can we get video?
Jesus.
And a
Couldn't be-
request is, if you're asking questions, stay on
Mhm.
camera, guys, please. Okay.
So super timely, no accidents here, because my prompting is it's about getting this land, which is a completely new domain category for me. I'm feeling like a complete white belt in the land, hospitality, wellness industry. But what happened is I've been praying, meditating for, doing my own retreat center for years, and to do this work, and all the dots are connecting right now. So please forgive me if I'm just like having a breakthrough in real time. Both you, Jon, and Mansi and Jules were actually part of this, because when we went to Egypt, Jules, and it was such a profound spiritual awakening. I almost died twice. One of the best experiences of my life. It was an unconventional life experience with Jules. And I noticed the granite rocks in Aswan were so grounding. Was what they built the pyramids out of. That's important later, because on another note, at the Abundance Tribe Leaders Retreat, I remember having a vision, and we had Jay Facette in the room. We're doing the hot tub experience. Nikki, shout out to Nicole, was doing a goddess bath, and I had this insight about serving at-risk youth, the young kings, disrupting the prison pipeline. It's sort of the philanthropy, charity piece of what I've always wanted to do, because my breakthrough as a kid is the Gangster the Guru. Now, to bring it all together, more recently, I found land, and I sat on this giant granite rock in Temecula in the desert, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's called Silent Valley Ranch, and it's quiet, it's peaceful, perfect for meditation retreats. And there's this giant granite quartz boulder rock, and I sat on it, and it's dropped me right back to Egypt, and experienced this inner peace that I haven't experienced my entire life. And so I knew this is the one. So I found the land, and I was like completely in love with this property, but also completely like, I have no idea how this is going to happen. I don't know what I'm doing. And so where I'm at with it is, I don't know if I'm in the water already or at the beach, but I'm definitely at this point of like, am I supposed to be doing this? Is this and yeah, so I'm just like, the how, so that's kind of where my question is. I don't know if that's clear enough, but I feel this is the right place to voice it. How?
It's great to see you, and I'm sure a lot of people can resonate with a prompting that feels so big, and maybe a version of so scary that, are you sure that's meant for me? And the truth is, and right, yes, if you've got something on your heart right now, when I got started with events and the podcast and everything, I definitely had and have had many moments since then where I'm like, really? You really want me to go do that? And here's one thing I ask myself is, what do you know to be true right now? And the truth is, that's a great question, but it might not be a worthy question of, are you the one? I don't know. But what I do know is until we get in the medium, meaning like we don't get better at surfing or better at boogie boarding or better at timing until we just go after more waves. And then we kind of start to recognize patterns, and we're like, oh yeah, I like this. I don't like this. Like, I was a big snowboarder and I tried surfing more, and I actually realized I didn't like surfing because I hate being tumbled underwater. But I had to get tumbled a bunch of times before me to realize, I think I'm going to stick to snowboarding. But the point is I got my reps in. And so my question, I guess, and offering for you is, what do you know to be true right now? And what is the first next step that you can take? And a lot of times we hold the distinction, I don't want to act unless I know it's going to contribute to some greater effort. But I call this the domino effect, where I look to take a step right to open up the energy left. If anyone's ever two-stepped before, you kind of step, slide, step, slide. And so I really hold this value that I don't need to know if it's the right step. It's an important answer, but it's not important or required for me to start now. So maybe my question for you, and you can think about this, what do you know to be true about that? And what is this next step that you can take? And can that step actually open up the greater energy so more of that answer gets revealed? Because really it is one rep after one rep after one rep, and then you'll know. But you really won't see the whole picture, in my experience, until after the fact. So I'm excited for you, Muriel. And what do you know to be true right now? And can you be okay with what you don't know and still be in action on that very first step?
Got it. No, I'm completely
received. And how that could look like, you could get the numbers, for example, for how much it costs to buy. You can make a business projection in Claude and ask it to run what it would need. You could see what it would take to buy it. You could put a proposal together. I'm just giving ideas of very small theoretical things.
Yeah, I'm with you. And so here's what I'm feeling. What I'm feeling called to do as a next step is see if I can actually host my next retreat on this property without having to buy the whole thing. That way we just basically release it for that event, and then we'll know, if that makes sense.
That's your clarity, Miro. Well done. That's exactly it.
Thank you. The clarity I received is we get to host a retreat at the Silent Valley Ranch. Let's go.
For Miro and everyone here, we love to keep the conversation going in our Community Architects Collective WhatsApp group. So as things percolate, break through for you, please share and celebrate. Keep the conversation going in the WhatsApp group. All right, thank you, Miro. We're going to keep it going. And in the interest of time, let's bring up someone who has a question locked and loaded, ready to go. So I'm looking at Christina, Tim, Scotty O. One of you have a question ready to go, or Chris Trammell. Just go ahead and unmute yourself and we'll go whoever speaks first.
I'm locked, loaded, right, ready to go. Jon Block, great to see you. And Mansi as well. Jules, common friend, Shen Lee. Now I know why she loves you. You are like, wow, what a force of nature. So I'm going to go tactical first, and then I'll come back for Jules' philosophy. When you're penetrating a new market, trying to establish yourself in a whole new area, are you trying to build audience in that market, or are you bringing people with you to a new geographic location? Meaning, I do events in different cities for my clients, and I have to generate new audience in those cities. We're not bringing people to retreats. So do you have anything on that?
Is your goal to activate more people within those cities, or is the goal to fill the event? What's the end goal?
Very good. Is to create another beachhead in those cities, right? So to have each city become a hub for following and business.
Okay. And why do you want to do that? Is it what is the return, the end return? And the reason I ask this is the more clarity I find, like I want to build community, but what's the real objective? Is it like I want to have 100 people at the events that I have? Is it that I want to, how would you define that objective?
Yeah, really good. So we'll just use Werner Erhard, right? Like Werner started San Francisco and then started moving different cities and grew what we know as Landmark Education. So using that same model, growing new thinking and centers for new thinking. So the end goal is business and transformation by getting the word out.
Okay, I love it. One last quick question. What is it about now that has you feel the individual cities to activate will accomplish that goal? Because there's a lot of new resources of how to accomplish it. So what is it for you personally about why the individual cities matter so much?
Very good. The skill sets of some of the clients are better in person than they are, using the model of the forum. They're better in person than doing them online. So planting them in different cities, the Tony Robbins model, doing them in different cities is more effective for the skill set of the person than doing it online just yet until I could create that type of Tony Robbins online virtual event.
Uh-huh. Okay, got it. So if you could, you would go right to the Tony Robbins virtual event, or you prefer to do it in person?
No, if I could, that is great. If I could, I would accelerate the work to get there for sure.
Yeah. Okay, I love this. This is why I'm asking Chris you these questions, and for all of us. I oftentimes, like, everyone I've ever been on a hike before, and you got to go like up, down, around town, over the water, like across the bridge to get to the top. I like to look at models of how can I design right, like the access point right to where I want to go in the destination. And so, you know, a lot of times even we're like, okay, I want to sell something. So I'm going to need a free ebook, and then I'm going to need a course, and then I'm going to need this just so I can get to the money. But it's like, but what is the money that you want to get to? It's almost like I want to build a community, and I need a community before I can do events. I literally was like, I'm going to do an event for 5 days. It's this date. And then a community got built because I had a very clear invitation. So that's my maybe starting point for you and for all of you right now, especially in this AI world we're in. The specificity of destination matters more than the strategy in some ways. And sometimes the clarity to go, actually, if I could, I would go right to Tony Robbins, and that's the end goal, and engineer that way. Because what I would hate is for you to spend years doing this in-person stuff to do that grassroots kind of thing. Not that that's a bad strategy, right? But for where your desire is, that you actually get to create something right at your desire. And so that would be part one, and that's for all of you. Can you be radically clear? And sometimes it's kind of vulnerable to go, I don't know if I could do that, but if I could, I would prefer to start there. Can we get that clarity there? And then from there, I find right now, resonance is the currency for audience building and connection. So that which matters to you, Chris, and this is for all of you as business owners and leaders, that which matters to you, I could have, if we kept going, I could have asked you, well, why do you want to do the Tony Robbins thing? And what is it about that for you right now that matters? And what are you seeing that matters? That would give us a lot more data of how I would inform that strategy. But I would just start with that clarity. And then I would go, okay, well, what would I need to do backwards to make that happen, if that helps?
Great. Awesome. No wonder 10 years of wisdom right there in that answer. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Great to meet you.
You too.
We have time for one more before we go to our breakout groups. We definitely want to honor our members here. So Tim, let's go to you.
Hi, Jules. Long time.
Tim, so good to see you. It's been forever. I was hoping John would call on you. I was like, I haven't talked to Tim in forever. So
shucks.
Good to see you too, Scotty.
Yes, nice to see you. And just a testament, everybody, meeting Jules 10 years ago at an event and watching what you've done in those 10 years. It's incredibly inspiring. Well done. I just got back from taking a group to Sardinia on a Blue Zone longevity after loss retreat. And I am planning on globetrotting each year to a different Blue Zone with this group. And what I noticed was trying to plan an event in another country, not knowing anything about that country, was logistically a nightmare. And I partnered with someone there. And my question to you is, because you've done so many international retreats, how did you know, how did you pull it off in terms of not being there before, being boots on the ground and being able to put together events that were so cool? Did you partner with local people there or someone who's been there before?
Yeah, great question. Unconventional Life has never returned to the same place twice, except for Bali. And we have done so many countries, and every event, it's exactly what you're saying. It's like, okay, now we're going to go to Albania, and now we're going to go, we did one in Cuba. That was a whole nother conversation offline for anyone that wants to know about that. But I mean, it takes something. And so I just want to honor, right? For me, it was important, probably like you, to create different types of experiences. And so some of my best courses of, thought with that, if you can, first step I do is I look for what local DMCs are the terms, but they're basically local tour operators. And you want to so if you're going to go to a country, let's say I'm going to Japan, Okinawa, or Peru, for example, I would look at DMCs in Peru. What you want to start to do is then look at the tours and itineraries that they are already offering. So I always like to look at the hack. If they've been doing this a long time and they've perfected the tour, like when we did Peru a few years ago, I wanted to do Machu Picchu and the Amazon. Most of those tours were like 14 days. I was like, none of my people have 14 days, but maybe 6. So I looked at the best of those tours, and then you have a choice once you have your itinerary to kind of go, okay, well, what do I want to do myself, or what do I want to hire? So in Peru, for example, it was easy just to customize my own itinerary, hire a local tour operator or DMC, and have them execute it. But I love to do unique, unconventional things that Miro or anyone that's come to Unconventional Life, John, can testify. And so I get creative. So I like to kind of get my hands dirty. Like Albania, for example, we're going to be going to these like different sacred sites and doing these boat tour kind of rock cliff glowworm things that are a bit off the cuff. So I'm willing to play what I call general contractor and go find someone just for that, right? And I really found this gorgeous hotel, and this is for all of you at another point in time. I've learned how to negotiate with hotels and venues to get like 50 to 75% off. Like we took over an island in Madagascar that quoted us $440,000 for 4 nights and 5 days back in 2019. I got it for $83,000. And so I really look at what is the win-win between the venue and the country. And this is for, again, everyone. Bringing an American or European or different types of just movers and shakers in the world to these properties, to these countries, has a lot of value. And to bring that kind of exposure, think about putting yourself in their perspective. They're out there trying to market and think about, even in blue zone places, I love Sardinia, they're still looking at how do we bring more business, more tourism. So if you can craft your pitch and your offering in such a way that you can understand that venue's win, meaning like, reach out to a venue, get out of like level 1. So not their general reservations person, like ask to talk to a manager. Most of the venues I do, I get talking to the owner. You can figure out, I had this princess of South Africa give us our whole South African safari, and I did a Forbes documentary on her. For her, being on Forbes in South Africa was like the 10 out of 10 never gonna happen kind of thing. And because I made that happen, like we were on safari for $100 a night, having 6-course meals. Like it was insane. And so I look at the win-win. So to keep it kind of tight and short, and I could go on this for a while, find the local DMCs, look at where the tours are, decide if you want to run them or hire from. And same thing with venues, but know the value that you bring to them. And I think it's personally easier every time I go into a country, I look at it like a new team. So once I have the criteria and condition, and it's a little rocky at first, Tim, but I promise you the systems I have now, I'm happy to jam offline. It gets way easier to just know these are the core hits. And once I have that, you can kind of move in and out. And now with AI and Instagram, I found our Albania venue because I felt a feeling and I described it to ChatGPT, which I love to use for my brainstorming. And it showed me photos of exactly where I wanted to go. And then I was able to pivot from there. So
amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Tim.
All right, Jules, how do we stay in contact with you and find out more about Albania and anything else you got going on?
Yeah, well, everyone, I'm so excited. Unconventional Life turns 10 this year. So we are celebrating our 10-year anniversary, which is so wild. I know. So over Labor Day weekend, we are going to do our 10-year event on the Albanian Riviera. It's September 5th through 9th. We can drop the link. It's unconventionallifeshow.com/Albania. So it's a group of 40. We have 4 spots left. Like I'm literally like, I wonder who's going to take them. So it's going to be coming up. If you've ever been to Albania, it borders Greece. It literally, they call it the Maldives of Europe. It is so stunning. Like horses run wild, and it's like the extended summer vacation you never knew you wanted, with really incredible networking. We've got some facilitators coming from Latvia who part of like Prime Minister. So it's a very international business leader connected community, which is awesome. And you also get to do fun things around there. So if that interests you and joins you, unconventionallifeshow.com/Albania. There's an application, but you don't, if you're on this call, chances are you're probably going to be vetted. So feel free to reach out, or my team will follow up with you there. And then I have got a podcast, Unconventional Life, as everyone has shared. You could just put Unconventional Life in there. It's one of the top 1% of podcasts. We have over 500 episodes, so that's great as well. And then the other thing that I've got going on for anyone that wants more visibility, my business partner and I started this event called Wild X, which is an American Idol, funny enough, for speakers, where we work with you for a couple months to craft a 10-minute TEDx style talk. And so after doing a couple different TEDx talks, I realized that they didn't get the visibility and reach that they used to because the conversations weren't resonant to what people really want to hear right now. So we work to take all of your message, all of your infrastructure, all your positioning. This is like what I love to do, my bread and butter, into 10 minutes. You come to our stage in LA at the Saban Theater with Michael Beckwith, and you get incredible judges, no Simon Cowell's, that give you feedback and your chance to really win. We have our big red carpet. USA Today is a big sponsor. A lot of our speakers get, paid speaking gigs from it, investors in their app, lots of business under the room. So if you're in the LA area, whether you want to be a speaker or you just want to attend, it's super fun. So we do those twice a year as well. So just an in-person thing, the Wild X stuff if you're in the California area, and Unconventional Life. And I'm sure these guys can get you hooked up. I'm always happy if you got questions or anything I said you want to follow up with, just get in touch with me somehow and we can keep the conversation going. So.
Well, this crowd is
Okay,
definitely from LA side. So.
We did post the unconventionallifeshow.com/Albania in the chat. Go ahead and check that out. Listen to that nudge, that whisper from the universe, and you will not possibly regret it. Jules, thank you so much for being with us, sharing your wisdom. I'm sorry we didn't get to everyone. If you had your hand up, celebrate those golden nuggets, those breakthroughs in the WhatsApp group afterwards. Jules, any closing words for our group of community architects?
Thank you so much for having me on this call with all of you all. And I just want to say you're further than you might think. And sometimes I know what it's like, especially when you create in the nonlinear, unless we qualify or quantify how we develop progress, sometimes it can feel like, you're got these ideas, you're taking action, you're spinning your wheels, you're investing, you're wondering, is it happening? Is it happening? Is it happening? And I promise you that sweet moment, that inflection point is really just right around the corner as long as you stay in the water and you keep paddling. And so I love that you have this community available for you and just that you remember that. And I look forward to seeing you guys hopefully in person somewhere or otherwise. So it was great to be with you all.
Yes, in person where the juice is. Gang, give lots of love to Jules. So great having you. Until our next adventure and our next hug. All right, bye for now, Jules. All
Thanks
right,
so much, everyone.
We go to 15 minutes past the hour, so hopefully you're able to stay on with us. We'll reserve the last portion of this for the relationship building. For many of you, this is where the greatest connections can actually get made and the growth. So be able to stay on hand 15 minutes past the hour. Mansi and I wanted to take a few minutes to share with you about what we got going on, and then really it's about you as community architects. As founders of the Community Architects Institute, we are deeply devoted to businesses using the power of in-person events and communities to create thriving ecosystems. What we mean by that is moving away from the typical linear expert model. We see a major transformation happening in the industry. Those of you who are at Sangam heard me share that the experts industry is only about 15 years old. That Brennan Bouchard released Millionaire Messenger in 2011. That's a good start date as any, like birth date, you could say, for the experts industry. So from 2011 to the present, it's looked very, to use Jules's term here, very linear in terms of how it's been. A equals B equals C. If I grow my email list, if I do the webinar, if I have a niche, position myself as an expert, then I'll be able to get clients and then grow my following and so on. This model has produced some successful people, a lot who tried to be successful, felt something was misaligned. I think it's also generated a lot of narcissistic traits in our culture, my personal view. And it's time for an evolution, gang. I trust that you are here because you sense that there is a new model that is emerging. One that is, as David Gruder would say, psycho-spiritually mature. One that calls forth this model of everyone winning, where rather than the ego coming out and this sort of like ego battle that can happen, whoever's got the biggest ego and sense of self-importance makes the most money, that we are evolving beyond this. And so one in where your highest expression is your heart opening, your consciousness, downloading into your people, your community, and expanding beyond just being an expert to really being a community architect. To really having the expertise paired with the relationship building, paired with the experience creation. You will win in this new economy when you wear these three roles of being a community architect. That's what we're standing for. We've helped many leaders with this. it's our great joy to dive in further with you on your communities that you're creating. So we did want to make ourselves available to you for a community architect creation session. So if you are looking to grow your community, you feel like, oh, I know there's something here, something's not entirely clear yet. Oftentimes it starts with what your invitation is to folks. We do these creation sessions as our gift to you. Mansi and I charge at least $500 an hour independently. And we want to make this available to you as our complimentary gift. It's your first time meeting us in our world. We want you to have that clarity of what your community is meant to be. And then if it aligns, you can join us at a Sangama retreat or at one of our other programs. Honey, anything you want to add about that?
Absolutely want to add. So there is community architects out there, and then there is people who actually build up community architects in the world, right? And Jon and me, we've had that divine path given from God with, how Jules was talking about the riding the wave and that precision. So we were able to create that in the world. In last 3 years, we've transacted over $1.3 million. And that is our gift, is to create these community architects in the world, because we know what is possible when you create the most amazing, divinely ordained communities in the world. So let us hold space, be the birthplace of these communities. And we've been honored to work with some of the folks on the call here. So yes, don't take this lightly. If you're getting the nudge to build your community, that is coming from your intuition that is needing that attention right now, because you wouldn't have these thoughts and desires if you're not meant to create something beautiful in the world. And that's where we are at, is the experience economy with being a community architect and understanding in this AI world, what is the polar opposite that humanity is going to crave, and be on the cutting edge of it, like Jules was, like we have been. So our invitation is to, just let's do this. Like, let's get on a call and create the most amazing, beautiful community in the world that will be your legacy.
Yeah, this is a value first call. It's as you get to know us more, that it's all about value. And so if you feel there's something here to explore, we can only connect with you so much in this group setting. Obviously, go ahead and get your phones out now, scan the QR code, and calendar. Sooner is better than later, gang. Your community needs you to show up. Really honoring it with your energy, intention. That's what this is about. So we have availability later this week and then into next week. We recommend no later than next week to really build on everything we're creating here. You're not here by accident. We'd love to dive in further with you. So go ahead and scan that code. We'll open it up for any questions. Anyone have anything you'd like to have clarity on what we just shared, or something else?
I'll take one. Jon, Jon, it's been a while since we've got to connect, and I love how your hair continues to look as young as we were in our 30s, if not better. I'm jealous of it. Just beautiful all the time. Better question. Why did you see the community group better than how you used to create the knowledge weekend service provider opportunity? Like, what was that shift for you philosophically or personally? Like, you know what? It's all about community for me. It's not teaching them anymore. It's gathering them.
I love that question. And first off, thank you for the hair acknowledgement. If you want to have robust hair that just keeps growing fuller year after year, speak to Dr. Mansi Shah. I was thinning out considerably when she and I first met, which was last time you and I saw each other, Chris, at the Masterful Communicator Seminar 2022. That's how Mansi and I met. And she improved my life in this way and many other ways. So she's got a protocol for this if you want to learn.
All right. That's great. What a plug. I'll take it.
A plug without the hair plugs, yes. So, answer to your question, when you and I met in 2022, I was very much still in the expert role. I've always had this conflict of loving bringing people together, but then it was hard to make money at this. And maybe those of you who have a heart for bringing people together have scratched your head at times. Like, what does it actually look like to have a business model that really does put community at its center? Oftentimes people just give up on this and say, you know what, community should just be free and for everyone and all of that, right? Well, those leaders burn out and oftentimes feel underappreciated and unseen. And those communities don't have the stickability because people have not invested, put money into the ecosystem. The way we see it, people put money into their churches. There are many other organizations like EO, Chambers of Commerce, where people put money in for the communities, or community entrepreneurs, whether they call themselves that or not. That's what they are. And the world needs more of the ones that are really deeply aligned with the values. Now, with us, we saw that with COVID, that we ourselves had a deep craving for the in-person community, and we were just sick and tired. You know how, gang, so much of the time, that which annoys you is an indication of what you're meant to do next. Just consider, like, if you're going to be a restaurateur, you probably get annoyed by restaurants a lot. Like, the service, the food is taking too long for this. You probably have what it takes to be a good restaurateur. So with us, we were annoyed by a lot of the in-person events where it was too much of that look at me, rah kind of energy, where we could feel the puppet strings. I've been in the industry since 2011. So anytime I could feel the puppet strings of what they, as the purported master of puppets, are doing to us, the audience, if I pull this and you will buy now kind of stuff, I just increased this energetic rejection to rooms like that. Also, creating the real tribe as we see it when you come to a person event, that's what it's truly about. And if someone doesn't have that skills, I ain't going to your event. So we knew that this is what people are craving because of the inevitability of AI and just our online lives being what they are, that the people who really are masterful at creating, as we call it, soul family at these events, of course you're going to succeed in business. And it's the thing that we love most. From when I hosted house parties in high school to the present, the thing I love most is together and creating these soul families. So that's why we decided to put the stake in the ground. We do still teach the communication and event architecture. However, this is really the framework around it, is community architects.
Awesome.
Thanks for that
Thank
question.
you, Jon. Now I get it.
All right. We're going to put you all in breakout groups. If you want to stay back and ask me and Mansi a question, we can certainly do that. We do want to give you the opportunity to connect. What breakthroughs did you have from today? What unanswered questions came up for you that you would like to take to your group? We're going to leave it open, gang. If you can stay past 11:15 and you're jamming out with your group, then you get to keep on doing that. We're about bringing people together here. Since this is our closing, then, honey, do you want to say any last words before we put people in the breakout groups?
Well, we have Sangama 2 coming up in October, and it is one of the most amazing things that we have delivered in our career so far. So we're absolutely stoked with those who are joining, and want to invite those who are feeling the nudge to come and join other kindred spirits, because we are all about community, breaking bread together, having amazing abundance gains together. Some of you who've been there, they know. So yeah, if you're in breakout rooms with others who've been to Sangama, do talk a little bit, and would love to have an amazing group again for October.
All right, we're going to go to your breakout groups. Go ahead, share, connect, dive further. Much love. Oh, next Community Architects Gathering will be the second Wednesday of August 12th, with Shannon Jamail, co-founder of the Retreat Industry Forum. She has a 65-acre property in Austin at which she hosts her retreats. So we get to get into the land stewardship. We don't love the term ownership, land stewardship, that aspect of being a community architect. She's a master at this. We're excited to have her. Much love, be free, together we rise. Reach out to y'all. As always, Christina, yes, thank you. 10 a.m. to 11:15 a.m. Pacific. August 12th will be the next one. Take care, y'all.
Perfect. All right. Well, those who are staying here, if you want to have conversations with us, we do highly recommend that you go to your breakout rooms. And
well, we'd love to connect with you if you're here, like Sahar and Christina. Always a joy to see you both. Sahar, I just want to start with you saying it immediately means a lot to us that you would come to a session where you're not the guest expert. And you've done this a few times now. And I know you know what I mean. As someone who's hosted lots of events, is when someone comes where they're not just speaking. So I just want to start by saying it means a lot to see you here. Cool. So Sahar, did you or Christina have something you want to share with us?
I did. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we'll start with you, Christina.
Okay. You really hit the nail on the head in the end when you talked about shifting from being the expert, because that's how it's been over the past 20 years. Online, we're experts, people come to us, we're the guru, right? And now the shift to being the community leader. So as you said that, Jon, I kind of realized part of my block is an internal shifting from I'm the expert with all the answers to I'm the community leader, gathering the herd, right? And we're all gathering our own herds, and some of our herds overlap. But can you just talk a little, just for a moment? And I didn't go to the breakout group because I've got to leave, so I couldn't stay long. But I thought what you said was brilliant. And how did you shift that for you internally?
Yeah,
And
I want to
Mansi, too,
echo
either one of you.
Yeah, thank you for that,
Absolutely.
Christina, because this is a very important distinction. I know you weren't at the Sangama we did recently. You're at the April retreat, so I did prep a new slide that breaks down the answer to your question. So on this slide I'm pulling up right now, this is a framework.
while you're pulling that up, I wanted to share, Christina.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about like experts industry or where we're headed from where it was, pre-2020, people, from the coaching industry, the experts industry was born because from life coach, now you had a niche down. And then there is a realization that we all have our own inherent talents. And then we also have spent 10,000 hours on something that's, life-changing for others to learn. And when we try to put all that burden on us, we start getting imposter syndrome, or there's, that lack of trust. How am I going to hold it? How am I going to, deliver it? So instead of that, think that I have my expertise and talent, and I've done my work to bring to the community, and others have done the same. So I'm going to source portion of what needs to be done from the community. If you shift that mindset, then the pressure is off and it becomes more about them and us and the creation. So then you are now more ready than ever to step in.
Yeah, I think what Mansi's saying is spot on. And there has to be this wise recognition that it's too much for one person. That being the expert and running the business, that balls are going to get dropped. Usually it's the self-care ball that gets dropped. So we're not meant to live this way. And in this very increasingly crowded, saturated marketplace where there's more people now than ever doing our thing, whatever our thing is, there's more people doing that thing now. And certainly with AI, people are asking, do I really need this expert? I just go to AI. Clearly, having the community is a thing that AI will never be able to touch. It's the thing of the crowd energy, as you see here, the relationship building, the experience creation that AI will never be able to touch. Harnessing that power you have to create the relationships in your own life and henceforth the people in your community. And then the experience creation will give you the competitive advantage among all these other experts who frankly lack the heart and vision to do it, right? So this is the basic framework as an acronym to remember. We call it XRX. So the three roles the community architect must play. One is the expert, next is the relationship builder, and then the experience creator. These are the three things to be increasingly mastery over time. You already have the expert part down, right? Obviously, these are mountains with no top. There's always ways to improve. However, this next bit about the relationship building and experience creation, you probably have some elements of the relationship building like are solid. Maybe the experience creator is what needs to be stepped up really next, hence doing a retreat at the Arc, like we've been talking about,
right,
as your continuing experience.
Yes, the in-person experience creator. Anyway,
yeah,
thank you for that.
This is, yeah, exactly. Zoom is a way to get to the in-person. At the end of the day, it's a way to bridge between in-person gatherings. It's a nice marketing like intro to your world. It's very scalable. However, it's not the end game and never will be.
Also, seeing you online as more of a gathering is something that we have intentionally picked to be done this way. We could have had a podcast, we could have just, me, Jules, and Jon, but then it wouldn't be about us. It'd be just going from me, which is me and Jon, to I'm including Jules in it, but what about all my people? Right? Like, I love Jules, but I also want to pour into Christina at the same time. I want to see Sahar. So that's the whole premise, is that we're going from me, we to us, which is the God frequency that we talked about, Christina, at the Arc. So that's our commitment.
Yeah, I think these in-person things are really important. Like, there's an AI summit going on now, and none of it's live. It's all pre-recorded, and it just feels so non-connecting. You want people to come to a summit. The energy behind a summit or a Zoom call is the people there, is the typing in the chat, is so nice to see you again. So I'm glad you're doing this as Zoom calls, not as a podcast. And you could always turn it into a podcast. You could easily flip it out and turn it into a podcast. Yeah, so this is great. I don't know if Sahar had anything she wanted to pipe in on about anything. I know I have to take off.
I definitely want to check in with you, Sahar, and Christina. It's always awesome having you here, and that you're in San Diego. We get to see you regularly. I was going to say that one of my dating parallels here would be that there are those who use Tinder apps, right? And there are those who are just sick and tired, like, God, I want nothing to do with Tinder apps. And that sort of reflects what we're talking about. There are those who would be like online, and that's how they're going to live, and that's how they're going to be for the foreseeable future, right? And there are those of us who are just like, God, no, I'm so over that. I was never that in it to begin with, and I'm not into it now. And those are the people who need the in-person retreats and the true tribe building. Sahar, do you want to unmute?
Yes. Hello. How are you guys? Yay. I just wanted to first and foremost say this was awesome. You guys are really, really energetically, this was so good. I love the energy today, and I love how you guys lead, and I love how you guys really are focusing on community building and gatherings. It's just so refreshing from somebody who has, I've been leading community, and I love it. Is so true, guys. It's so true that you are, how important it is for us to meet in person. Speaking of meeting in person, we'll be meeting in August. I wanted to confirm that I don't have to do it here, but I noticed that your meeting is the same day as the eWomen meeting, the next event on the 12th of August.
Okay, is that on the eWomen is on the Wednesday or Thursday?
Wednesday.
Oh, it is on
It's
Wednesday.
on the 12th, yeah. And it's
Okay.
the same timing. So just wanted to just wanted to give you a heads up about that.
I
Yeah.
think it's your first experience of being double booked. We'll just have to make it work somehow. We
Yeah.
do have commitments as we're growing here to not mess with our times.
Oh yeah,
So,
of course. You have
yeah,
to.
what we do it from E-Women, if it makes sense or not, we'll have to see as we get closer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good. All right. Hopefully we'll get on a call soon. I want to talk a little bit about me visiting there and how it looks like, and we're still on from the 10th
Yeah,
of
you're going
August.
down
Yeah.
Sunday, excuse me, Monday, we said, right? The August
Yeah,
10th.
Monday. Okay.
Got it in the calendar. We're excited to hug you here at
I
the Art.
am too. I am too. You have no idea how excited I am to have you guys. Yeah. And Christina, nice to meet you.
You two must have been in the same rooms at some point. Like, Christina, I met Sahar officially.
I'm pretty sure I've met Sahar before.
Yeah.
But I don't remember where. But nice to reconnect again.
Yes, you do look familiar. I'm sure we're in the same room somehow, somewhere. Yeah. And how are you, Mansi?
I gotta go,
I'm doing
guys.
fabulous.
Sorry.
Okay.
No
Nice
problem,
meeting you,
dear.
Christina.
Sahar, I'm doing fabulous. Thanks for checking.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been so much fun hosting these gatherings. We are committed to making them more experiential and fun. Our whole thing is that if we're not having fun, we're not in that frequency of joy and creation. And we sometimes go to some of these online things and they're flat and we're just kind of noticing what's happening, or the, share that Christina had about AI Summit being all just pre-recorded and there's no connection. That is so disrespectful to human life, I feel, and
Yes,
you and
it
me
is.
might have similar feelings. Call us old school, but I don't want to take human connection for granted ever.
No, more than ever, it's growing. Our industry of live events is growing, and more, especially women. And what I've realized, I've been doing a lot of research about women in my season of life, in the 60s and above, that are still working, creating and leading, and nobody is creating anything for them. So I'm starting, Soulful Women of Wisdom online event specifically for my past client, current client. Eventually I'll make it into maybe I'm thinking of making into like a ongoing for specific people, because most of my clients are like love when we meet with them, like every single month, like the 30th, I have the event coming up for the Soulful Leader Gathering, but they just want a more intimate, more connection. And I'm really listening. So there's a lot of need for, like, I cannot wait to start in-person events like Women's Gathering when I moved to SoCal. Somehow, somewhere, like I'm itching to lead women in-person gatherings. But I love what you guys are doing, honestly. And today you guys rocked it. I mean, oh my God, it was amazing. And Jon, did you know that your smile is very beautiful? You have to smile more. Look at her. Look at the difference. I wanted to tell you one of the things, like, smile, Jon. You have a gorgeous smile, for God's sake. We have our
Thanks for that affirmation.
What?
Yes,
Thank you for that reaffirming. Yeah.
Yes, I had to remind Mansi on more than one occasion I'm a words of affirmation person. So this whole, obviously I find you attractive or else I wouldn't be with you is not enough. I need to be from time to time.
I have a little sticker. I don't have it anymore. When I do my event, stay smiling, Sahar. Like, because people respond better. Because we get so serious, like when we're leading or something. But yeah.
Keep smiling.
Yeah, I usually don't in person as much, but like these like our online ones has to be tight, right? So like I'm with Mansi, with Ella, our VA, right? and then other people who are like messaging me privately too during this, and it's a lot to hold. So I appreciate the reminder.
Yeah.
You have some suggestions. By the way, are we recording? We're done recording, right?
It's still recording.
It's recording. Okay, we can release. Yeah, we can release the recording now, Ella.
Yeah.
Sahar,
Sahar, we have you. When you were on last time, you had afterwards saying that you had some ideas of how we could grow the community in between events.
Yes.
And I'm curious if you could say more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me check just to see when is my next appointment. Hold on. Okay, good. So one of the things that I don't know the mood you guys were in, but today was the frequency is awesome. Can I speak freely? Because I see few people still here. So I just want to make sure.
I think in the
I don't
main
know who.
group, it's just,
I don't
Rahul
know
is part in India.
Rahul's
so
fine. Yeah, he's
Oh,
just,
okay. And read
he's like
a
CTO.
meeting. Oh, okay,
Where's the
perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
Is that us?
I'm removing that.
Recording stopped.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect.
Just want to make sure. I want to be
Yeah,
free to share. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what it felt like. And I'm just sharing because you know who I am, and I love you guys. It just felt, first and foremost.
Hold on. We're still live.
Okay.
We're
Just
still
make
live.
sure.
Can you stop being live? Can you please? No recording.